Hello everyone, and welcome to our poker strategy course coaching. And whoever is new to the coaching, the main idea is going through 8 weeks, and we're gonna go through different articles, different videos, and also we're gonna have coachings and as well homeworks. And the main idea is to help you out to have a plan, a study plan, and be able to participate in different kind of homeworks, and as well in the end you will have a exam to pass. But anyways, we already know the coaching and know about the course. Today our plan is going to be talk about poker math, and maybe if you have time a bit puzzle play as well. So if you have so far any kind of questions, feel free to ask. I will just set up everything to that. And for right now you're just gonna need to open the join me link, which means that you have to copy paste the join me link, which I just paste you into the chat window, and as well you can get it from the coaching info, whichever you prefer. And the idea of the join me is that you're gonna see my desktop and you will see what I'm doing. And for this coaching you will definitely need the join me and see my desktop, since I'm gonna introduce you to some software and stuff, and therefore I hope you will join with the calculations and the ideas which we're gonna go through. And the homeworks I'm going to see today, most likely. I already started to overview the homeworks. So anyways, I guess we can pretty much start. And do you have any more questions? And I'm giving a few minutes, maybe someone else wants to join with the coaching, so they would catch everything. And I guess I can go through pretty fastly the software which we are going to use today. The software which I guess most of you already have, it's called Ecolab, and with that we're just gonna go through basic calculations. And the extra software which I guess I will be providing for you guys, even I did provide that for the last course, and I'm most likely gonna provide the Excel sheet for you as well. But about the Excel sheet I'm going to talk in few minutes. But first we're just gonna talk about Ecolab. Whoever is new to Ecolab, I would really advise to use it. It practically gives a very easy way, for example, to calculate, let's put ace king against tens plus range, and you can see how you're doing against tens plus range or just against tens plus ace king suited, and you will see how often you will be winning the hand. And we can do this kind of calculations for different kind of things which I'm gonna show you. And let's even take the first hand. So practically our idea today will be, we'll be talking in the first part, we will be talking about outs and odds, and of course implied odds, and where we might have implied odds and where we might not have implied odds. For example, there are different situations where you have to discount our odds, and of course we might even have reversed implied odds. But we're gonna go through that soon, and also we're gonna do some equity calculations. And if you have times, we're gonna play a bit and do more puzzle-up explanations. But for the first thing which I wanted to show you is a hand where we have actually a decent play from the villain, and pretty standard one. And now is the question, if we do get the implied odds, or do we get even the odds on turn, and what do you guys think of that? For example, in this case we don't have to argue about the hero play, and in footer hands we're gonna not argue or discuss about hero play either, since the hands are from handulation forums, and it's very likely that hero might even have played it badly. This is the homework. Yeah, that's good. It might be the homework as well, so we at least could talk about this, and whoever was able to attend in the coaching, you will at least have the age and will write the answer correctly. So what do you guys think? Do we need here any implied odds, or do we even need, or even a call with the odds, or what do you think of? So till that, I guess I hope that everyone is familiar what is odd, or what are odds and what are implied odds. Hopefully everyone does understand it, and if you guys don't understand, then just tell me and I will give a small explanation. But for the time reason that we have a limited time, I'm just preferring to rather not invest time into the theory in this coaching, and the theory is rather explained in videos or articles. Videos are mainly from Hasenbraten. But as I see, there are a lot of different arguments already, and that's true. Here actually it's pretty easy, that we mainly just have to know what kind of odds we need for the flush draw, and of course we could even consider here maybe having some kind of gut shot odds. But the reason is that for the gut shot we might practically just split on river, and we can't be sure, and therefore our plan is mainly to play for the flush draw only. Of course there might be a small thing that the opponent may have something like a set, which means that we actually have discounter outs, but in this case we are just thinking about the opponent having something like a 4x, so practically which is a straight, and if we are getting the odds here, and why we are getting the odds. Yep, I guess we are already getting very correct answers. And by the way, what I didn't mention is that in this case I forgot to change actually, but I guess it doesn't matter that much, but we are taking the button as 100 BB guy and not a small stack as it's written here. Sorry for not explaining a bit better there. And nope, I'm talking about a flush draw on turn, obviously. And actually it should be pretty easy, and we see ourselves that I'm just gonna show you my calculator, which I have made myself. Even if we, for example, didn't see ourselves, that in this case it's pretty easy to see that we are practically getting the odds. By that I mean we are getting the implied odds. I mean not the implied odds, we are getting the odds. But for example, if we needed to calculate implied odds ourselves, I have made a small calculator in Excel sheet, which is actually pretty easy to use, and I'm gonna show you how we can use it. And let's see, I'm gonna try to put these things in the right place. But anyways, you see, it's actually the same thing as we would calculate ourselves, but with Excel you can easily do those kind of calculations pretty easily and very fastly, and which actually I'm using. Let's take in this case, of course during the game it's pretty hard to do that kind of calculations, but if you have a post-session analyze, then it's very easy to do. And in this case let's pick a opponent's play, and as you see the first row is pot, which is a total pot is 25 cents, and we bet into the opponent's 22 cents, and we get raised. We get min raised, and this is practically all the pot which is already in, and it includes definitely our bet as well. And now is the question how much we have to call, and we have to call 22 cents, which means that we are getting the odds for almost 4 to 1, which calculates this row, and this means that we already getting the correct odds, since for the flush draw we will need only 4 to 1. And for example, in this case, let's say we know that we need per flush draw for odds 4 to 1, and here we put 4 to 1, which means that we need only minus 3 cents, which means that practically we are getting the implied odds. But for example, if the opponent will be raising us let's say maybe 66 cents, and we had to call 44 cents, which says that on river we would need 63 cents, and this kind of Excel sheet actually calculates everything very fastly, and it's really easy to use. So do you guys have any questions so far? Is everyone here? Do you guys hear me? It seems like nobody's hearing me. Ah, okay. Like nobody was chatting. Okay, good. So, do you guys so far follow me? And do you understand everything I was talking about? It's mainly that yes, new desktop. I was asked to remove my icons. Okay, I guess you're gonna get it with the next hand. So far the first hand was pretty simple, but I just gave you a small overview about software I do use, and I will very likely provide the software for everyone to download, so you can easily use the software for your homeworks, for your own home post-session analysis, and simply it's very easy to use the software. And if you have any questions about it, just feel free to post that into the locker room, and I will try to explain everything. I guess, or I hope you didn't. Let's see what comes in footer hands. But anyways, this was a small introduction to the software and to the things which we're gonna go through today, and hopefully you guys will have fun. And math is actually the most important thing in poker, which we definitely have to try to understand and have to use even more. The higher you get, the more it's actually a must use, and we have to understand where we are ahead, where we're not ahead, where we can call profitable, where we cannot call profitable. What hands are they? Are the hands you have played? Nope, the hands are mainly from hand relation coaching. I mean hand relation forums, and the hands are played by random players, which I just picked randomly. Is there a way to work out the odds in our head if we know the odds we have? Yeah, of course it's possible, but if you're rather new to poker, then it's pretty problematic, since it ain't be that easy for you. But the more sessions you start to analyze, more hands you start to analyze, the more calculations you're doing, the more kinda robotic play it will start for you, and you will do it pretty much automatically and will have no problems with it. But anyways, I guess we can take the next hand, and the next hand, let me check, will be flush draw and gut shot. And oops, not that hand. that we had already, and this one then. So, can you explain a little bit more about discounted odds? Roop Hooper? Okay, I could. Let's take the last hand, which you had, Ace Jack, and in this case, you see, you have a flush draw on turn. And now is the question, what kind of cards we have to discount here, and why? Could you explain it? I mean, in this case there are, or there could be, outs which you have to discount. I'm giving you a few hints. It's for example, the opponent has a set. Let's say the opponent has a set of sixes, and what kind of cards we have to discount? And yep, that's true that we can already discount overcards. Any ace, any jack wouldn't work for us, since it's already very likely that the opponent has a rather stronger hand. Yep, and already I'm getting the correct answers, which actually should be that any six of club would kill very likely the action, since the opponent, as I said, the opponent hand is pocket sixes, which is a set, and with another 6 he would just get a quads. But if we would put the opponent on set range, mainly like pocket sixes, pocket deuces, pocket threes, pocket fives, this means that it's very likely that all this kind of outs, as 6 of club, 3 of club wouldn't be our outs, and we had to discount them. And in this case, for example, we knew that let's put back the opponent raise, and we have to call, and we knew that we have to discount this kind of outs, I mean, like 6 of club and 3 of club. This means that we have to discount 2 outs of flush draw outs, which means that we only have 7 clean outs, which comes to the case that with 7 clean outs we have the odds of 61, and in this case we just put odds for us 61, and we see that on river we have to be sure that we get at least 41 cents, and then our implied odds are correct. And if we expect not to get the implied odds, then we should rather fold the hand. And how we can expect if we can get value from him or not, it's mainly up to the opponent and the opponent play. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there is actually implied odds with the villain there, and if the button had a full stack of 100 PB in this case, we still could call there just for the given odds. But anyways, I guess we can now go to the next hand, and the next hand is played by Hero again against 2 opponents on flop, and we hit a flush draw on turn. And what do you guys think now? How are our implied odds doing here? Do you guys think that we will be able to get the correct implied odds? For the point of view, I'm gonna show you how much we actually need from the opponent to get correct implied odds. Let's take again that all our only flush draw outs are good here, and let's discount all our card outs as the ace. So what do you guys think on turn play? Could we call it profitable? If you expect the opponent being rather not so great player, and he might even pay us. Okay, we don't have them. Doesn't matter, the BB stack, let's say the BB has 100 BB. In every case we're gonna today go through, it's the case that we're gonna take the opponents having 100 BB. Yep, you see here we have the odds of 2.8 to 1, which means almost 3 to 1. And which means actually on turn we can even easily call, since the opponent may even be for example sometimes trapping if set even, and even maybe did hit his queen, and it's very likely that on river for the given odds he's giving us, for the given implied odds he's giving us to 12 cents shouldn't be that hard to get, and it's very likely that we're even getting more on river, and therefore we can consider calling the river. But as you see that this kind of software once again tells the amount how much we need to get it on river. Yep, do you have any questions so far? Actually this kind of situations should be pretty easy to understand. But okay, I guess we can continue with the next situation, and the next one is going to be this one, and it's once again implied odds situation. And now guys, let's try it out, and what do you think on turn? How are we doing there? Should we rather, and let's take not into account that the hero bet size on turn is rather weak, but rather let's take into account that we are only talking about hero play after the raise. And what do you think? Should be able to call there? And if we are getting the correct odds? And nope, unfortunately we don't have any reads on the villain. I guess according to the limit we could expect that the opponent ain't that good, and according to the raise size it's very likely that the opponent ain't that good either. Need your money. If we will have some time, then definitely we are gonna play, but mostly we're gonna discuss about math today. And feel free to open the join me and you will see what we are talking about. Okay, now let's discuss first how many outs we do have there. We do have pretty much the flush draw outs and gut shot. Let's take the opponent has something like a king x hand, like king jack, king 10, king queen, ace king maybe even, and let's put the opponent on this range only, and let's get the understanding how we could play it. And we for flush draw plus gut shot, yes, that's true that we need 3 to 1 if there is only one card to come. But anyways, let's take a look. The easy calculator which tells us that we should even if flush draw, you see that if we even would have only flush draw, then we would need only 7 cents to make it profitable in long run, if you take into account that the opponent may even have any kind of king x hands, and all our flush draw outs are clean. But of course there might be cases that or all flush draws ain't clean, and we had to maybe discount some outs. But if we even add the gadget into the equity, then we see that the odds are pretty much perfect for us, and there is no mistake to bet call it this way as the hero does. Do we consider 3 outs for the ace as well? Yeah, we could consider as well, but even then we would have even more outs. Which outs with a discount? If I would take the hand as played, then most likely we had to discount some outs, like 5 of spade. It's very likely, since it might be the case that opponent may have even set, so which will give him a full house, and maybe even a 7 of spade. But still, it's pretty easy and simple if the opponent is giving us so great odds. With almost a min raise, there is no way we're gonna do a mistake to call there if we are playing against 100 PB guy. What? 0.4. This means actually it's a pot size. As you see, turn pot size is 40 cents. And with this with this row, you see that how much it's already in the pot, and it's calculated by adding the total pot, adding the hero bet, and adding the BB raise. And yes, I will be uploading the Excel sheet for you guys. Don't worry about this. Most likely maybe tomorrow, or when I will have access to that. But anyways, those are just the first and simple one hands, and the further we get, the more complicated they will get, so be ready for getting a bit more confusing hands. But let's take a next one, and the next one should be this one. And now you should try answering the hero play on turn. What do you think there? We are playing, let's say once again, we are playing 100 BB deep, and MP decides to make it pot size on turn. Do you think we could call here, or even ship it profitable, or it's rather a fold? Okay, first answer is a fold. Anyone is up for a call here? Ship it. Should be fold. Yeah, of course it may depend on the opponent. But anyways, let's take a look. If you take into account that the William bets on turn pot size bet, and let's see how much we should actually get on turn. Oh, I mean on river, if we are even calling there for the implied odds. The pot is 83 cents. We have to call 83 cents, and this means for just a flush draw, since we can't be really sure that all the overcards are very clean, and even sometimes we have to discount any kind of pair board outs, as use of heart, for example, might give him a full house, and therefore we might even have to discount. But as you see, on turn it's the case actually that on river, if we would even call, we would need from him $1.66, which is not that likely we'll ever even getting this one, and therefore our implied odds are definitely wrong here to call. Only possibility would be to ship it, as Maniac somewhat explained already, that against a Maniac player we might take this line, but since we don't really know the opponent, and every opponent in these cases is unknown for us, it's rather a fold. We could actually practically do equity calculation here as well, if you are guys interested for it, and let's see how we are doing there. Let's pretend the opponent range being or what do you guys think? What kind of range could the opponent have here? We see that it's a free bet bot, and the board ain't perfect for us. So what do you think? What kind of range could be donking on turn if he's a somewhat reasonable player and not a very bad player, and not really spewing around with his money? Let's just start with a few hands, and then we can go through. Tens plus. Okay, then practical actually we could even put pocket nines as well into his range. Okay, pocket nines. Let's just try out with pocket nines, and let's see how we are doing. Ace of heart, king, queen of clubs, and flop is 10 heart, 4 heart, 9 heart, and deuce diamond. Before even seeing the equity, let's try this one. And this kind of Excel sheet actually allows to understand how much equity we need. Like if you are going all in, then how much equity we need there. And let's see. It's practically the same as the previous one. The first row is pot, which tell us how much is the pot, and the pot is already 83 cents, and the opponent's bets into us 83 cents. And now is the question, practically how much equity the opponent could have, and before that we have to know how much we have to call, and at the same time we have to know how much the opponent has left. And for that I'm having another calculator which tells me, like for example in this case we see the opponent has $1.72, and from pre-flop we exclude the amount he calls, means 16 cents. On flop it's 24 cents, and on turn it's 83 cents. As you see, he has left 49 cents, which means that we this kind of amount have to add into the total pot as well, since it's very likely that he is going there all in anyways. And now we have to understand the meaning of how much actually we gonna invest into that, and our investments are going to be exactly the amount how much he bets, and exactly the amount we add from his stack left, which means that these two, and we see that my calculator calculates it pretty fastly and tells us that for a break-even shover there, we actually would need 38% of being ahead. The exclude, Chiron and exclude stands for to calculate how much the opponent has left in his stack. Like for example in this case, we don't have to use a calculator. We just have to put the opponent's stack. The opponent's stack is $1.72. Then we exclude all the amount he calls pre-flop, he calls on flop, and then he bets on turn. And then we get his stack which is left. Stack left should be this way. And this one you put into the pot, total pot, since it's pretty much anyways he's going all in. And here we see that 38% of equity would be perfect for a break-even call, but we didn't exclude Drake, so therefore would be even more, like up to 40% would be perfect, and then we would get a bit money even from going all in, but rather not just going for a break-even. But in equity calculation we need to put the opponent on a range, right? Yes, jacuzzi, and this is exactly what we are doing here, and we just calculated how much equity we would need, and in this spot we will see now we're just gonna press evaluate, and we see that hero gets only 25% equity, which means okay, a bit less, but about 25%, which means that hero is never gonna go broke or profitable in long run, and against that kind of range we are rather making not profit, and this should be minus IV. So hopefully you do get the point now. But would he min raise with pocket nines? Yeah, of course he could. There are several opponents who might min raise with aces, and sometimes even just induce for such a raise as we do. But just a smaller error for you guys, and it's definitely the case that a lot of sets are in the range. We could even put even flushes into his range and two pairs then, but still it's very likely that we ain't gonna get such a equity as the calculator says that we should get. So do you have any questions so far? And hopefully it's not that hard for you. There is two options in Equilab: enumerate all and Monte Carlo. When do you use Monte Carlo method? I guess Monte Carlo method, I haven't even used it ever, so I practically don't even know what's the difference. I guess the Monte Carlo maybe just puts a lot more hands. You can like go through millions, billions hands, but enumerate it practically just goes the fast calculations and picks the very fast hands, like maybe only 1k hands or so. Do we have any stats on the opponent's Ruper? Unfortunately nope, the opponent is unknown to us. Why we perform calculation from turn and not from flop? Orion belt, the problem is that on flop there is no point to calculate the equity for us. Of course we could calculate like if you are doing a profitable better, or if you are in long run earning money from the bet, and if he's making enough for folds. But why we are calculating the equity on turn is that there we actually have the situation to get understanding. Either we can go broke, or either we can't broke. And in this example we see that we ain't doing perfectly here with our equity, and therefore we rather have to fold the hand. But anyways, I guess we can now take our next hand. And now it's actually the opposite, that in this case we're gonna see that a hero made a small mistake on turn, and I would like to hear your opinions. What kind of mistake did hero do there on turn, and why? Pre-flop play is pretty standard. We raise with our made hand. A jack suited is definitely a worthy raise, and on flop hero decides to raise against min bet, which is definitely fine as well. With the min bet, it's oftentimes the case that it's either a weak hand or even a draw, and we have to protect our hand and try to find out where we stand. Okay, we are already getting few answers. He could check behind for pot control. But Waterman, why do you want to check behind for pot control? Why, while the opponent may easily even have a lot of draws there? We really have to protect our hand. So there is an option to check behind there actually. Plus, of course, we want to pet it for free showdown. We don't want to make hero calls on river. Our only idea to check it behind on turn will be to induce bluffs from maybe hands like 8x, 9s, pocket 10s, maybe in weaker pairs, or even missed draws. But anyways, but true that we could even raise a bit bigger on flop as well. But let's take now on the turn line. What do you guys think? Why is the turn line wrong? I'm only saying that it's definitely fine to bet it, but what's the problem with the villain here, or even hero bet? And yep, actually we did even get the correct answer, and the correct answer is that we are just giving way too good odds for the villain to call against us, and it's just a huge mistake to play it this way. And as you see, let's take a look into the calculator once again and see how good odds we are actually giving him. And actually, of course, more kinda experienced players may say it already that we are getting specific odds, what would be it's 1 to 3, 3 to 1 I mean, but as from this case you see that the pot is already 1.47 cents, and the opponent bets, I mean hero bets only 70 cents, and the villain has to call with 7 cents, which practically means that we are just giving way too good odds for him, and we're never ever gonna force him to make any mistakes. And the villain only needs to get from us on river like 63 cents, which he may very likely even get, and therefore our line is very bad. And the main idea of playing it badly is that hero did bet way too smallish. It should be at least be maybe like $1.10 or so, or $1, something similar. And let's take a look how much it differs, how huge mistake the villain would do if he would bet like $1.10. And from here you see that it goes up for him big time. His implied odds are not that good anymore, and therefore we are practically forcing him to make mistakes. And this is the main idea in poker, that we are trying to force the opponents to make mistakes. So do you have any questions so far? And hopefully you did understand everything correctly now. And I guess you did. And let's take a look then in our next situations, and the next situations are going to be more equity based, since with imply dots we are pretty much done, and I hope that everyone did learn something new and might even change something in his play. And pay attention when you are giving good odds for the villain, or if you are getting good odds or implied odds. And the very next hand is going to be guess this one. And now it's your time again, and now I'm asking from you guys to not take a look at the pre-flop play, but just take a look at flop play. And what do you guys think? Can we call here profitable on flop if the MP2 ships it? Of course, hero play is pretty bad, but we are just taking so far that hero has the decision either to call or fold. So what do you guys think of it? Would be our call there profitable or not? And let's take a look. If I remember right, you need 12 outs for show profitable. And what's his range? And we got there. Let's take a look. First thing, which is well, that's actually the most important question, is what kind of equity we need there. And of course, the easiest way to calculate the equity is to use the calculator. And as you see that we need 27% of equity. This might give you a better overview if we can call it profitable or not. Quest shouldn't have turned up late, but what's with the pre-flop play? Lioness, in this coaching we are not taking into account the pre-flop play or hero play at all, but mainly the implied odds situations and equity situations and different kind of calculations. With most of these hands, it's the case that they are not played correctly, but we are trying to argue about the play of after the raise, for example, in this case, in this example. Where did you get 27%? How I did get? It's the case that for equity calculations you practically add all the total pot, which is 51 cent, and you add a hero bet, which is 35 cents, and you add the MP2 stack, which for him is all in $1.07. And another thing what we have to know is how much we have to call. It's 72 cents, and by that you practically divide by 75 cents, divide by total pot you have to call, and you will get the break-even percent of how much equity we will need. Isn't that how one can calculate odds in rough? Yep, it's practically the same. But for equity we will at least see, or we can use it in FUDE things, and which will be equilab. And now we will get to see if we can call it correctly. So I still didn't get any answers actually. What do you guys think? Are we able to call they're profitable? Yes, we can. And why is that? What kind of range do you think that MP2 has there? Let's see the hand, how it's played. MP2, it's very likely having a strong hand. But what kind of hand? Let's take into account that his 3-bet range is oftentimes very strong. Ace Jack plus. Okay, let's start from just from pocket pairs. Let's say he does have something like jacks, definitely jacks plus in his 3-bet range, and of course ace queen, maybe even ace king could be possible. Let's try this out. And if he maybe is a bit looser and maybe even with wider range, but in this case, as we were talking about mainly a strong 3-bet range, let's take this kind of range. And with pocket jacks, it's actually the case that on flop we can't be sure that he is even shipping it. But let's try this one out and let's exclude pocket jacks and let's put this kind of range, and let's see how much equity we even get against this kind of range. And what do you guys think? And oops, we had king cross, king clubs, 10 clubs. So you guys think against that kind of range we are able to get the 27% equity which we will need for break even? Let's see. And yes, that's true actually. And as you see, in this case actually we are even far ahead with that, and in the long run we should earn profit from this kind of call. But obviously the play, how hero played the hand, is overall pretty horrible. So do you have any questions so far? I think it's a little loose, the range we put the villain. Waterman, let's try. What kind of range would you put him on? It wouldn't change much. Okay, let's take a look. Let's remove ace queen and let's see this. You see, it wouldn't change much. Ace queen gives him already 2 pairs, which is pretty strong hand as well, so practical against queens plus. Ace king suited, ace king offsuited, we are still getting pretty good equity, and in long run we are earning profit. So hero should 3-bet to put villain all in. You mean pre-flop or post-flop? Post-flop, the villain is already all in anyways, and there is no way we can put him all in. And all in should be of course just fold hand. There is no way we can call it. It's just a huge mistake to play against not even a full stack guy. What does ship it mean? Ship it means exactly the same as all in, shove. There is no hand that the villain has, and we don't have the equity, right? I guess we could try. Let's try maybe pocket aces. And you see, even against pocket aces, we will still get the equity. Why is hero play on flop bad? He had a monster draw and played aggressively. I wouldn't say it's like totally bad, since MP could still maybe even fold his pocket kings, pocket jacks. But hero's play pre-flop was very bad. Why do you show us the line when we will probably never play the way? Dandik, what do you mean you will probably never play this way? You will, like, in future have a ton of such situations where you will have such a situation when you have such a decision to make. If you can call it, if your gut shot flush draw against a mid stack or not, and it's not that the case that you will just have one time in such situation. And yes, I did remove already. And against even set of aces we are doing pretty good. Lioness, the equity is pretty much the same as odds. But with the equity we can just see, as you see in this case, that we need 27% equity for a break-even call, which is included with the rake, of course. If we exclude the rake, then we need a bit more equity. And as from the Equilab, we see that we are getting the equity, and which tells us to be able to go broke here, and in long run we will earn profit. Would you consider limp call preflop with this hand? Roop hooper, nope. I would never consider calling limp calling. And UTG, this hand of course should be pretty standard fold. What if the villain had a bigger stack? We need less equity. And nope. If the villain had a bigger stack, then we would need a much more equity there. And let's just take a look. Maybe like if we had villain had 50 cents more, we had to call 50 cents more, and you already see that we need 34% of equity. Assuming you only use percent for pot odds in evaluation, using the quick outs and outs method in play. Yep, outs and outs are in play much easier to use, but I'm pretty much used to use only the percent of the way, since Equilab tells me in percent everything. So we would never ever been in the sand. Roop hooper, actually yes, preflop it should be fold, but it's still a huge chance that in your poker career you will definitely meet such situations as where you have such a situation where you have a flush draw, you have a gut shot, and you have a mid stack going all in, and you only have such an amount of call. Then you will be able to know that, oh, I can call her. Oh, I remember the situation from the coaching, and which tells me actually I can call. If the opponent would have a bit more of the stack, which you see that here it's pretty much a break-even call, and which tell us that actually even it's pretty much flipping. But anyways, I guess we can now go to the next hand. And the next one is for you guys to do a bit calculations yourself, or actually even I guess whoever can do would be nice if you would do, and if you can't, it's not a big problem. And since we had the question about ace king against 5% of range, I decided to give you a small overview with playing ace king offsuited, and why it's actually pretty bad to go broke with ace king. And the main idea is that, as you see in this situation, we are playing full ring, and we are hero, and we are against villain. And what do you think would be our line here if the opponent is playing pretty nitty and has a free bet range of 3%? Easy fold, yeah, okay. Yep, it should be pretty easy actually. And just for the given out a reason that I'm gonna just show you that in this case we can calculate, for example, the equity, how much we need. Of course we could even calculate the expected value here and different stuff, but okay, we already got, and we need equity of let's say we put $4 into the bot already, and cutoff rate is $15, which means that there is already $90 in the bot plus the blinds, which is 50 cents, $1. And now is the question, how much does the opponent have left? And as we expect, the opponent very likely to go broke, and we just have to know how much he has left, and he has left 85 cents, and this we have to put into the total pot as well, since it will be calculated in the equity, and we have to invest $96 to win the bot, or even flip against the opponent. And as you see, we would need almost 48%, which we will very likely never ever get it, and it's just for proof and show you. Let's put the opponent on something specific like Jack plus Ace King. It's very likely his free bet range, maybe even sometimes not that kind of range. We might even exclude hands like Jacks, Ace King, and even against that range you see that in long run we are just losing a lot of money, and it's even double that he's free betting with that kind of range. It might be even towards to this kind of hand, and you see even with pocket queens it's sometimes very close that they are rather playing with them passively, and here you see that the Ace King hand, it's actually not a great hand to go broke. Can you move the Excel sheet out of the way? Here, the hand please. Oops, yeah, sorry. So, a small overview about Ace King, and hopefully I did give a small preview for you guys. And of course, even if a hand like let's take back like against this kind of range, and we have pocket jacks, we have the same equity which we need, and you see even with pocket jacks we can't go broke profitable. With pocket queens we practically, with even pocket queens, it's the case that we are still not doing it profitable, since we have to keep in mind that there is rake which will be excluded, and therefore we have to have even more of a percent of equity, and it's in this case it's pretty much only queens plus and everything, or nothing else. With pocket jacks, pocket 10, pocket queens, it's the case that even against some opponents we might call and play post flop if you expect him to free bet with hands like Ace King, maybe Ace Queen. So I guess we are pretty much done with the hand. Will your opinion change for 6 max? What free bet person would you consider going broke with Ace King? In 6 max it's actually pretty much the same case. That still you definitely have to know your opponent, and it's pretty easy, and you would just need the opponent. Let's say the opponent is free betting with a range of maybe 8%, and of course now is the question if we even would be able to go broke against him profitable. I mean, would he ever like go broke with all his range? And even against this kind of range we see that we are ahead, but the case is that it's very likely that the opponent is going to fold most of his range, like this one's 8s, pocket 9s. Maybe at the best he would continue with 10s. King 10 suited is definitely out. King Jack suited is out. King Queen suited is out. He's never going broke with them, and even very likely that with that kind of range, at the best he might have the arrow range, as you see from the picture, and it's at the best. And even against that kind of range, we are still pretty much flipping. And if the ace king hand, you have to see or understand the opponent range, and if you expect the opponent being very aggressive, having a very wide pre-bet range, then of course, like if you have a early actions with him, have been fighting with him, then of course we could consider. But if he's rather unknown player for you and you can't even not expect the opponent to free bet with worse hands, then it's rather a fold. Or if we would expect even to maybe free bet with ace queen or something similar, then it's still the case that I would even consider rather calling than going for a 4-bet and going broke against a range which will be very likely against our 4-betting range, rather very nitty or tight range, and at the best we might get a coin flip. What's the range of 4-bet in micro limits? Full ring, queens plus, jacuzzi. I would say that it depends on the opponent, but mainly queens plus, I would say. Is calling a free bet not normally a bad thing? Why should it? Why should it be if we expect the opponent still to free bet against us with worse hands? Then it's no way it's a bad thing. It's rather a bad thing is if you are going to 4-bet against the opponent on you might only have like 50 hands and then even going broke. So do you guys have any questions anymore? And even if not, I guess we can take the next hand. Hello coach, may I ask a question not related to hand ranges or and eco type? I am for first time silver. Congratulations. I remember my first times when I became silver. I was spending a lot of hours reading all the articles, and then of course when I became even gold and platinum and diamond, then I spent even more, and it was fantastic. It really motivates to play even more. It's awesome, but should I apply these things in I learned, for example, a new chart edge in micros? Duke, about the chart, I can only say that it really depends how sure you are on your post-flop play, but practically you can try out the new chart and see how you are doing with it. But if you're rather new to poker and you don't feel that comfortable playing post-flop, then why not just use the old chart and try to get the understanding of the post-flop play, and then whenever you're ready for it, then just adjust to that. But silver is actually a very good rank. Whoever is new for silver, then it's definitely a lot to explore and even watch good videos. But anyways, I guess I'm going to take a next hand, unless there are no more questions. And then next hand. So, and once again, as we are not talking about hero play, we are practically just talking about the hero equity on river. And here we have actually a bit more difficult situation, and here I would like to guys ask, what do you think about river play? Let's just talk about the first overview. If you would be playing and you would be hero, would you call the river? So, what do you guys think on river? We are betting 1.5 pot and we get raised, and we even don't get raised at peak. What do you guys think? Looks like we are beat. Unfortunately there are no stats. Sorry for that. We are pretty much against unknown player. I wouldn't call. Rue Pooper. I'm not the hero who played hand. I don't know why they didn't see bet. Don't ask me. But we're just talking about the river play. Call, okay. One for call. So practical as we see, there are no very correct answers. But let's give you a small overview. How much equity we actually would need on river. The pot is already $2, 61 cents, and we bet 1.5 pot into the pot, and let's see, the hero raises $4.88. And now is the question, either we can or we are able to call it. We have to call $3.58, and the equity we need would be near 30%. So what will be your line here? And let's talk about only calling or folding, since button is still a bit more deeper, 140 BB, and therefore we don't really want to talk about this. And let's take only about fold or call. Okay, some are for fold, some are for call. So it's actually, I do agree with you guys that it's pretty difficult situation, and the only possibility to understand those kind of situations is that we have to ask ourselves what kind of range could the button have there. Let's ask these things and let's take a look. Let's start from the very beginning. On flop, the button, or even pre-flop, the button calls. He may definitely have a lot of different broadways, maybe even suited connectors, and obviously all kind of pocket pairs. And now on flop, the button bets into us, which indicates to strength. He's still betting into two opponents, and now decides to check back on turn. With what would be it possible? It would be possible with maybe a draw, maybe a flush draw, and of course we can't exclude any kind of trap hands like sets, and maybe even two pairs. Ace 10 could be possible, King 10 as well could be possible, and then on river. Now is the question, what kind of range could the opponent have here? Let's start from the sets. What do you think, guys? Could the button have their sets? Yeah, easily, definitely he could. Let's try this. Pocket 10s, it's very likely. Pocket 4s, pocket 6s, and what do you think about pocket queens? Could be pocket queens in button range. Yeah, it's actually true that it could. Button still doesn't want to 4-bet against us, since we are a bit deeper, and it decided to just set mine and play post flop. So we are putting pocket queens as well into his range. And that's practically it. Since with pocket queens, I'm pretty sure he would just free bet and try to get it in. But while we are actually block a king, and it's not that likely him to have. And now let's talk about two pair type of hands. What kind of two pair type of hands he could have? 10-4, it's pretty much unlikely. 10 since 6 is the same, it's not that likely. Queen 10, what do you think about Queen 10? Could he play Queen 10? Queen 10, yeah, definitely possible. King 10 as well, definitely possible. Even maybe even more likely King 10, since he checked behind on turn and now sees, oh, I have two pairs, I can raise for value. Even the hero bets so much, it's very likely that I can raise for value. And Ace 10, Waterman, I wouldn't expect Ace 10, since it's not that likely. He would turn his hand into bluff on river. And let's take just in this case that he has made hands. Let's take the worst place, and he has just made hands. And Gadget did put some kind of range. Pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket tens. Ace jack, king jack. King jack, it's actually pretty close as well. Would he ever like raise with king jack that big? I doubt that. He might maybe make a min raise or a bit smaller raise. 8, 9, it's practical a bluff. Ace jack, what kind of ace jack could be playing this way? Actually, I do agree that even any kind of ace jack could be played this way. He saw both opponents checking on flop and decided to take a stab, and as somebody called, he saw that, oh, I don't have much fold equity, and decided to check behind on turn with gut shot. Ace jack is very likely, and might even both be like ace jack suited, ace jack off suited. King 10, king queen, and so practically this is far the range we could put the opponent on. Or would you guys think of putting anything else into the opponent range? Ace king. Ace king is still pretty close as well, since we can't be sure that the opponent is raising that big for value with ace king. Let's take the first way that we take a look how we are doing this. Jack 9 of clubs. Yeah, actually Jack 9 of clubs is very likely as well. Jack club, 9 club. Let's put this one as well. And maybe even the opponent. Okay, let's exclude king queen just for the equities and see how we actually are doing. And we have king club, queen club. Then heart for clubs, 6 club, queen diamond, king spade, and as you see, we need on river about 30% of equity, and now is the question if we can get it. And as you see, we are actually pretty close in between getting the equity or not, but it seems that still we are even earning a small profit from there. And therefore the answer would be, what do you guys think from what we have learned so far in the coaching? Fold. Yep, that's actually the correct answer. It's pretty close between a fold and close between call. And true, I would say that even if you are deciding to go for a call, it's not really wrong and if you even decide to fold the hand, then it's practically fine as well. But as you see, it's pretty literally likely that it's pretty close spot. But if you would take into account that it's very likely the opponent ain't ever gonna check behind with hands like sets there, then it's pretty easy call for us actually, and you will see that our equity is very high there, and therefore we actually could even call the river, since the opponent check behind on turn just doesn't make sense unless he's really some kind of spew-tart guy who doesn't understand anything about protecting his hand. And that's pretty much it. And do you have any questions so far? Or I guess we can pick the next hand. And hopefully it's fine for you guys that we sometimes have such a coaching as such math coachings. And yes, this coaching is recorded. Unfortunately, it seems that we won't have that much time to play today, but in next coaching I'm trying to play more and discuss at the same time about the theory. Yep, you can match it again if you want to. These coachings are so much better. Yeah, I do agree that actually math coachings are very important, and that's why I decided to pick such a coaching. So anyways, I'm going to take pretty much the last hand for today, unfortunately, and the last hand is hero, and it's once again hand pocket aces, and you can meanwhile take a look at the hand, and I'm going to read through the text. Other problem is doing this heat of battle. Is there a quick short approximate method? Gadget. I actually didn't get their question. So anyways, guys, what do you think of the hero play? Of course, hero should add to full stack. Hero maybe should do whatever. Rename his player name to correct hero, not Hero Nakamura, but just the hero. But let's talk about the post flop play. Okay, during the play, yeah. As I have explained that during the game you won't be able to do all that kind of calculations, and the way how I have been doing during the game is that I have just gone through a lot of hands. I have analyzed a lot of hands, and this mainly helps me for the game. I get understanding where I'm ahead, where I'm behind, what kind of equity I need, what kind of equity does the opponent have, and practically going through all the situations. The more situations you have, the more hands you post, the more you will get the understanding and get the overview how you should actually play your hand, and you will do very great on tables when you have done the analysis yourself, done the calculations yourself, and yeah, just that's pretty much it. And of course, without doing the analysis you won't be doing it very quickly on tables, and on tables you won't even be able to do such calculations so fastly. And that's the good thing in poker, that there are just so many situations which will come again, and you will connect with some older situations, and you can adjust to that and play according to the situation you had. So by studying all the time with Ecolab and equating hands, we already have played to learn experience that we play. Duke, that's exactly the case. that Equilab and playing around with such calculations really helps to get the understanding. I'm pretty sure that you even didn't like when you started with poker, you didn't even know like how good is the equity, like ace king against pocket kings. Ace kings offsuited, let's take like, oh, the equity is this way, and the more stations you get, the more analysis you do, the more you will get understanding. It's not only pre-flop play, it's as well post-flop play, and obviously a lot different stations as well. But okay, now back to the hand. So what do you guys think of going broke on flop? Should it be profitable, or should we rather argue about folding the hand? First thing what we're gonna do is, as usually, we're gonna put the opponent or the equity calculations and see how we're doing. And pot is $2.35, and we have to call, or I mean go all in per the world stack, and already in the pot is this amount, which means that UTG has left the amount of $5.65 and $2.20, which comes from the raise, and we put it together, and this is the stack which UTG has left, and we have to spend $5.65. And as you see, we need the equity once again of 30%. And do we get it? Can we go broke? What do you guys think? And you are welcome. See ya in our next coaching. And I think you can, never ever on micro limits. Okay, let's ask once again us, what kind of range could the opponent have here? So let's start from the beginning. The opponent does a min raise from UTG. What kind of hands he could have there? He could definitely have on flop definitely pocket queens, pocket tens, pocket fives. These are practically the easiest hand which we could see. What do you guys think about him having maybe pocket kings? It's possible. He might even sometimes low play, and even maybe pocket aces. We never know. And ace diamond, king diamonds, it's unlikely, since hero has already ace diamond. I think he would do that with ace queen, king queen. Do you think that the opponent would call a free bet with king queen? Ace queen is it's possible that the opponent is going to call with such hand. Let's put ace queen into his range, and even maybe king queen. Okay, let's try king queen suited. He can't have ace. He can't. I do agree. Let's actually exclude pocket aces and pocket kings, since it's very likely that the opponent would free bet with them. I mean, not free bet, he would 4-bet with them, and we already blocked the aces, and it's just one pair of aces which is possible, and therefore what kind of hands he could still have. Nope, I doubt that he's playing pocket jacks this way. He's rather just block bet folding there with pocket jacks. So do you guys think the UTG could have anything else here? Why not 10-10? But no. The case is that we are talking about the hand he's going broke, and with pocket jacks I doubt that he's going broke on flop. While there is overcard possible, while our range is towards to a very strong hand as well. Queens is not very possible, but much more than aces kings. By the way, UG1 just called a raise, so could exclude pocket queens, because I guess pocket queens we still have to add into his range. I doubt that everyone is going to 4-bet with them and going broke. And suited connectors may be possible, but let's take just a look how we're actually doing against this kind of range. And see, we need about 30% of equity, and as you see against this kind of range, if we expect the opponent to have ever here a hand like ace queen, king queen suited, then it's very easy for us to even go broke. No, but UG1 called with UG with yes, sure. I didn't take a closer look, but it's still possible. Some neutral players play this way, pocket queens, but even if we exclude pocket queens, it's more likely that towards that we are far ahead here. And the only reason to think of ace king suited it's not that likely, since we have already the ace of diamond. And for example, even if we wouldn't expect the opponent to have such loose calling range, which even sometimes is the case, since if they have just a top pair, it's very likely that that they ain't gonna play it very aggressively, and let's exclude hands like king queen suited and ace queen off suited. And as you see, in this case actually we ain't gonna do very good. And which actually it's pretty close between either to go broke or not. Can we have king jack suited? Yes, he can, but it's not very likely. Even maybe king, let's see, king diamond, jack diamond. Against that kind of range, if we add that, then we should add as well king queen suited and ace queen off suited. So practically it's really dependent on the opponent, and while we don't really know the opponent, it's still the case that he might even be a bad player, and he might even be able to call with such hands, and in the long run if he's calling with such a hand, then it's a place where we should actually consider going broke. But that's true that it's very often the case when people are picking such a line as making a very small bet, and then when we raise, then you're just shipping it. It's very often a case that they have a very strong hand and they are just tapping against you, and against two opponents it's actually very easy to play by just raise folding it, and it's much safer, and in the long run you will rather save money. So do you guys have any questions about anything we had in this coaching today. Or anything, since the coaching is pretty much done for today. The Excel file you have, is it on forum somewhere? It will be soon on the forums. I will upload it for the students. Someone asked about PokerStove earlier. Would you recommend? Why not? If you are used to it a bit more, then why not? But I would recommend using Equilab. It has a lot more features. Can we be notified when it's uploaded? Yeah, of course. I could post something into announcement feed. So guys, I guess, or unfortunately even, we are done for today. And if you have any feedback about the coaching, or how was any positive, any critical feedback, feel free to open the feedback log and write anything you want into it. It would be nice to have some feedback, so at least for future I will be maybe even more motivated, or at least know what kind of problems I have in my coaching. Or would you rather like to have such coachings more, and what do you think about such theory coachings at all? And any kind of feedback would be nice. And of course, whoever were attended in the coaching and went that far with me, is like being with 1 hour and 30 minutes with me. It should be pretty much exhausting, and have fun whatever you are gonna continue doing. Or if you're playing poker, then good luck on tables. And thanks again, and this was veriz for pokerstrategy.com, and see you everyone.